everyone, and welcome to Out Comes the Sun podcast. Again, we have an incredible guest today. We have an artist, an author, and an uplifter, which we'll soon know what that means. Her name is Wendi Knox, and actually, I met Wendi, I think it was longer than 10 years ago. She says 10 years ago. I think it was longer because I think it was pre-Bobby, and Bobby was 14 years ago. So anyway, whatever. It was a while ago, and I was talking about my book at the time. Maybe it was, I don't know, whenever. It was whenever. And Out Comes the Sun, or Out Came the Sun. Okay, Out Comes the Sun is the podcast. Out Came the Sun is my book. Okay, and anyway, we met at this thing called First Tuesdays, and she struck me as such a, incredibly energetic, vibrant, incredible woman. And it turns out she really is quite extraordinary. She's, in her past life, she was the only female senior vice president, creative director at one of the largest advertising agencies in Los Angeles. And that is saying something. Creating and supervising award-winning campaigns for brands like Honda and Acura. Acura, sorry. Hello. But after unceremoniously losing her job at 50, this brand storyteller is now helping women of all ages change the stories they tell themselves. This speaks to my heart. So I'm so grateful for your history and your past, because a lot of what we talk about is the story that we tell ourselves, the negative thinking inside of us. Anyway, she's had a miraculous encounter with hundreds of red dragonflies, and it changed the way Wendi looked at her own story, especially concerning age. Like the dragonfly, she's risen up from the muck and grown her wings later in life. Wendi had her first book, From Muck to Magic, which is so beautiful. Thank you so much. You sent me this incredible copy, From Muck to Magic, and it was published with her first solo art show at 65. Oh my God. Everything you're doing is just making me smile. So now for our inspirational talk and uplifting workshop, Breaking Out of the Age Cage, she's on a mission to help free women from the cultural messages and inner ageism that clip our collective wings. So to find out more about Wendi, just, aside from this amazing podcast that we're going to have, go to Wendi Knox, and that's WENDIKNOX.com to learn more about her and the incredible things she's doing in the world, and how you can connect with her and, possibly become one of her people. So, thank you, first of all, for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you. And I love that you're taking age and just, knocking it on its ass. So, I mean, seriously, it's very hard to get older as a woman. I know it. Melissa knows it. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. But when you decide that you are worthy and that you are beautiful and that your inner beauty matters and your inner voice has to come from a place of love, that's what's so great. Because this month we're kind of trying to make everything come from a place of, with love being the kind of centerpiece, since it's February and the month of love. But okay, so your book is called From Muck to Magic, which is beautiful. Where did that term come from?
Well, glad you asked. Like you said in the intro, at 50, I had this big kind of Don Draper-ish job in an ad agency, and my boss loved me, but didn't tell me there were going to be all these cutbacks, and I was going to be laid off like after 12 years. I was just shocked. And because my husband is an entrepreneur, which is French for no health plan, everything was on me. And I had a small baby at home and older parents with financial problems. So it was really stressful. So I spent a lot of time in my backyard crying. And one day and advertising's a very young business, like show business, and so I was out in my yard and I said a prayer and I asked the universe, am I too old to reinvent myself? Please give me a sign. And I went for a walk and I came home and there were hundreds of red dragonflies in my backyard.
Wow.
And it blew me away. They stayed for 4 hours the first day and came back 3 more days. And I started Googling dragonflies and I learned that they spend most of their lives crawling in the muck at the bottom of a pond. They're down there for up to 4 years. And then one random day, something propels them out of the pond, and in the light, their wings unfurl and they fly off later in life. They're down there for 4 years and then they fly off. So I thought, oh my God, those dragonflies came to me because I'm growing my wings later in life, and they're telling me it's never too late to soar. And everywhere I went in LA, on the freeways, there were dragonflies. On the 405, on the 101, on the 110.
What?
Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard. So they just kept showing up. And then my husband and I were on vacation in Ojai, where we live now. And there was another swarm of red dragonflies. And I said to him, oh my God, I think they know I'm a writer and a branding person. And I think they want me to get their story out into the world. And I found this idea of from muck to magic so powerful because I thought the worst thing that ever happened to me was losing this job at 50. But then I found myself in the muck of almost losing my only child to addiction. And that model of being in the muck and they keep shedding their old skin. And, when you're the mother of someone struggling with mental health or addiction, you have to keep shedding your ideas of what it means to be a mother, what the dreams you had. So I had to keep shedding that. But it really helped me to think that my son was in the muck, I was in the muck, and we were growing new wings. And it really propelled me forward. And, through the years since I've been sharing my story, I found there's so many kinds of muck. It's the muck that's in our heads that holds us back. It's the trauma of childhood. I watched you guys with Valerie Bertinelli talking a lot about that kind of muck, what we carry forward. So the idea from muck to magic, like when things get bad, even in our politics, I think about all the muck is coming up, but what new magic is going to emerge. So it's a very positive, hopeful message that those dragonflies gave me. And most people don't know about it. So I really want to share it with as many people as I can, which is why I was so excited to be here.
I just want to ask you one question just so that we don't lose this. Your son, is he okay?
He is okay. He is okay. There's different stages of okay, when you discover what's underneath addiction, depression, and so it's just never simple and it's never a straight line, but he's doing incredibly well now. Right. He's really talented.
No, addiction is incredibly complex and often it's a way to self-medicate a deeper depression, misunderstanding, trauma stuff. And I know as a parent, it must be just like you ask yourselves all kinds of questions of like, oh my God, what have I done? Am I responsible?
Yes, definitely. And, the whole thing they talk about in Al-Anon is you didn't cause it, you can't cure it and you can't control it. But as a parent and as an empathic person, it's hard not to take things on. But we've all learned so much about, respecting each other's processes and the way it's done. And, it's just, you kind of live on this tight rope between hope and appreciation for this moment and fear and worry of what's come before. But then most parents do anyway. This is just an exaggerated version of it, I think.
Yeah, I completely understand. Well, your story is truly inspirational and so real. it's so authentic. Every person we talk to, and it may on the face of it look like, oh, it's all dragonflies and butterflies or whatever. It's all
Yeah.
happy, happy, happy times. But life is life, and things come up and challenges come up, and it's really, how do you address those, and how do you stop that inner voice, that negative inner voice? And I think that's where I relate to you so much, is that ability to separate yourself from the voice that actually isn't you. I talk a bit, it's like noise. It's just like noise. It's not you. But, and how did you get to that place? How did you find that voice was not you? How are you able to separate yourself from that negative, whatever, that negative inner voice?
Well, if you saw my therapy bills, you'd have some idea. But I call that one of the paintings in my book that you guys must have seen is that I can really relate to it. It's like a woman with her head open, and it's just yak, 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 yak. I call that yakking voice Edna. She's the bitch that lives inside my head. And, before this podcast, she was pointing out how dark I was under my eyes and how old I look. It's just constant. So the biggest thing that helps me, I'm so happy to not, I used to live in Westwood, too close to the 405. Now I live in just this beauty outside, with deer walking by and trees. So going outside, wherever you are, even if it's a park near your office, I just find being in nature really stills the mind. And every morning I go out. Today it was like 38 degrees, but I go out with my journal. I write things that I'm grateful for. I listen to the birds. I look around at me at like how, branches will fall off a tree, and I'll feel sad about that, but then I'll realize that's how they grow new, so I think there's so many lessons out there. I put my hand in my heart and I breathe and I ask her. I think of her as a her, and I ask for her voice instead of that voice, so just different ways. But it's not a perfect science, because you can be in the middle of a really good flow of positive energy, and then there'll be more muck, so I've stopped looking at it like from muck to magic. It's really muck and magic coexisting in every day. And recently I've had a lot of pain in my knee, and I'm turning 68 on Sunday.
Aww.
And it's like the messages from all this pain in my knee, and my mom couldn't walk well, and thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? I'm old. I'm talking to surgeons about my knee, and I just started to get so nego on myself. And I went outside, and I've never had such physical pain in my life. So I went outside and I prayed and I said, what is this pain? Why am I experiencing? What is the gift of this pain? Because I think if we can find the gift in even the ickiest things, so I asked what the gift in the pain was. And the answer was, it forces you to be in this moment. And it forces you to be in this moment and to take care of yourself and stop worrying about your son. And that was a very clear answer. I said, okay, thank you. Can we get rid of the pain now? But I find that asking something bigger than myself, whatever you call it, spirit, God, the eucalyptus trees, I just feel like there's a force that's so much beyond our mind. And the more I connect with that, the more I'm able to transform the muck into magic. I also find there's a lot of, spiritual bypassing and toxic positivity in our culture. So people want to go from muck to magic like that and just think positive. And I have really found that when we allow ourselves to be in the muck and to experience and go through it, that's when the magic and the shifts emerge. So I allow myself to go outside and sob or to do, lion's breath in my car.
Absolutely. No, I mean, you're saying something that, I mean, you're speaking our language, because the truth is there is no light without dark. There is no muck without magic.
Right.
There is no positive without negative. I mean, it's very scientific. That's how energy works, and energy always moves.
Yes.
It's just having the knowledge that everything always changes, right? Pain
Yes.
turns to pleasure. Things always are in flux, and we are in a culture that grabs on to, I want to take a pill, I want to do a thing, and I want it to be over. But that's not life, right? But it's having that kind of, maybe it's like Buddhist attitude where you sit back and you just go, I just have to accept that life changes and shifts and is painful and is joyful and is amazing, is dark,
Yes.
is light, and all that. And that's the beauty of it, and becoming the observer instead of life happens to you all the time. You kind of separate yourself. Let me, Melissa, I want you to chime in here, because I know that you have intelligent questions, and I just get so off into
A question that came to mind when you were talking about you were mentioning, and you have throughout the book, which I'm going to hold up one more time because it's actually
so
pretty, and it's so pretty. You've got in there, you share some rituals that you perform, like you just mentioned something, going out in nature, journaling. I even saw a drawing, a beautiful artistry. You're the artist, yes. So of you taking a bath. And bath rituals are very important. So you have these rituals, and one, as you were mentioning them a while ago, I started thinking, during the process of self-healing, which is an ongoing process, how have you had to look at relationships differently? Have you have relationships in your life, as you've gone through your self-healing, have you forced a change, or have they have they organically changed? How is that? Can you share with us a little bit about that process? A lot of women are scared about going through processes of change, right? And so I'm curious to find out how you feel about that.
That's a question I've never been asked. It's a good one. Well, I feel like everything around us is a mirror of us. So that's the first thing. And I've been noticing lately, as I've been in this physical pain, which is rare for me, that there's a lot of people around, and I think we see what we need to see in order to grow. So I've been noticing friends I love with huge hearts. I see a lot of fix-it friends. So instead of just being with you with your pain, like, God, that must feel so bad, I'm so sorry, what do you need? It's like, I'm going to give you a pep talk, or I'm going to, you should look at it this way. And I find it really frustrating because, like the dragonfly, I have a process of moving through things and evolving. And so I've really been working on acceptance and choosing to nourish myself and give myself things that I wish other people were a little bit more capable of giving. I mean, I've been married to my husband for 36 years, and I'm so blessed that he keeps growing with me. I mean, I do all the therapy and the crying. I'm like the surrogate feeler in the family, but he always comes along. And after many years, he now, like when I'm really emotional, he'll say, that's okay, you just need a good cry, or that's okay, that makes you feel better. And he's not like that, but he's very accepting of me. But I just find that our culture, especially like when a lot of successful creative people who make things happen, they want to do that for you. And I do find myself a bit resentful of that. So something has shifted, and so I've learned to pull back into myself, and I'm working on learning to give to myself what I'd like to receive from others, because others aren't always capable of doing that.
Others have their story. Listen, I want you to hold this amazing thought, because what you're sharing with us is so great. We're going to take a small break. We're going to come back to speaking with Wendi Knox. from muck to magic, and we'll be back in a moment. I want to thank one of our incredible sponsors, BrainTap. You may have listened to our podcast with the founder of BrainTap, Patrick Porter. And if you did, you'll definitely want to get involved in BrainTap. And if you didn't, please, I strongly recommend that you go back and listen. It's so incredibly informative. Here's what BrainTap can do. You can literally build your brain fitness with BrainTap's mobile app and wearable headset. Everyone here at Outcomes the Sun podcast has had and continues to have positive results with BrainTap. Your brain is guided from awake and reactionary patterns to intuitive and creative responses. BrainTap is backed by neuroscience and research and was developed by Patrick Porter himself. BrainTap creates a symphony of brainwave activity to optimize your brain's potential, restore your ability, balance your energy, and calm your brain. And listen, it is a game changer when it comes to sleep. This technology is truly a gift, and I am so incredibly grateful to be able to share it with you. Welcome back to Outcomes the Sun podcast. We are having an amazing conversation with Wendi Knox, who you can connect with on Instagram at Wendi Knox Uplifter. That's Wendi, WENDI KNOX.
DI.
DI. I said that, didn't I? Did I say that? I think so. Wendi Knox Uplifter. And on Facebook, Wendi Knox Author. And on YouTube channel, I love this, Oh My Goddess by Wendi. That's her YouTube channel. And Wendi's website, wendiknox.com. Yeah, your story, I think because, the three of us are women, the three of us are, well, you're in your 60s and I've just entered the 60s, like I'm in 60s, and Melissa will soon get there. This is the year she turned 60.
God willing.
No,
God willing. I celebrate every birthday.
It's a powerful thing, and it's so great to be able to embrace it and say, and another thing about you, Wendi, is that you say that you've never felt, but I know that you're going through some physical pain, but you've also never felt more energetic and vibrant and alive and useful. And I have to tell you, I feel exactly the same way. I've never felt better about myself. I think maybe it's the years of like being so hard on myself. It's like now I actually can say I love myself, and I think that you can say that too. I know Melissa is an amazing human being, and she better be saying she loves herself because I love her.
I'm just so interested in this idea of breaking out of the age cage. In other times, like when the goddess was worshipped, older women were revered. They were the head of the tribe. They led the circles. They were the medicine women and the high priestesses. And in our culture, the word crone, which has kind of a negative connotation, it comes from the word crown. And the word hag comes from the word hagia, which means holy. So we really have some reframing to do. And I think it's one truth
well,
at
if
a
anybody
time.
can rebrand us all, I think it's you. So we're really grateful to you, Wendi. Thank you so much. I really, it's an absolute honor to have spoken to you today. Thank you for sharing from muck to magic. Please follow Wendi Knox. She's an amazing human being. Wendi Knox. Wendi Knox. What is it? Wendi Knox. Wait. Wendi Knox Uplifter. I love that. I don't know why. It's so cool. Wendi Knox, an author on Facebook, and Oh My Goddess by Wendi. Thank you so much, Wendi. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Out Comes the Sun podcast. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Slater, who's in the background. Thank you to Jeremiah, who gave me notes so that I didn't lose my way. And thank you to everyone out there. We will see you next week, or hear you next week, or you'll hear us. Sorry. I guess I really can't see you, but I wish I could. So God bless all. Thank you so much for joining us today on Out Comes the Sun. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube. And you can donate to the Mariel Hemingway Foundation at the MarielHemingwayFoundation.org. And I want to spell Hemingway for you, HEMINGWAY.org. I only say that because a lot of people put two M's, and that just won't work. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to the donate button at the bottom, and it will take you right to a link with the QR code. And if you go to MarielHemingway.org, you can also press the donate button and be able to donate to the foundation, which is designed to help guide people towards finding the right solutions for their mental health issues. That is my goal. I'm just trying to raise money so I can come up with an app and a website that has all the information you could possibly want to know about mental health and where to go. But we are in the process of making that happen, and your donation means so much to us. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.